Hey Bougie click. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that's bound to spark some conversation: how society celebrates certain stereotypes and why it's time to challenge the narrative. From historical icons of class and grace to the influence of hood culture and the echoes of slavery propaganda, we're unpacking it all. So, grab a seat, buckle up, and let's get into it. This one's deep, but it's important. Ready? Let's go!
I'ma make you a fan.
Unpacking Promiscuity, exposing ghetto culture's misrepresentation of Black culture. Ghetto culture is a stereotype that doesn't represent the diversity and richness of Black culture. Black culture encompasses a wide range of traditions, art, music, and history that have shaped societies globally. Ghetto culture is often used to describe behaviors or aesthetics tied to systemic poverty and marginalization, which can unfairly stigmatize communities. Ghetto culture is often misunderstood as being synonymous with Black culture, but this conflation is both inaccurate and harmful. Ghetto culture emerged as a survival mechanism in the face of systemic oppression, poverty, and disenfranchisement. It is the story of how marginalized communities, including Black people, triumphed over adversity. From gangsters to organized crime syndicates like the Mafia, Triads, and Yakuza, every minority group has its own version of this narrative. These were not glamorous lifestyles, they were born out of necessity. Our ancestors did what they had to do to survive in a world that was stacked against them. However, the issue arises when we fail to evolve beyond these survival tactics. We are no longer in the same dire circumstances as our ancestors. They fought for opportunities that many of us now have, and it dishonors their sacrifices when we don't take full advantage of these advancements. Ghetto culture is not a celebration of Black identity, it is a relic of a painful past that should not define our future. Survival tactics versus cultural identity. Ghetto culture, at its core, is a survival story, a testament to human resilience in the face of systemic oppression. It emerged from poverty, racism, and exclusion, conditions that forced marginalized communities to adapt and survive under unimaginable circumstances. In Black communities, this meant embracing resourcefulness in the absence of opportunities, creating music, dance, and art from scraps, building tight-knit networks to protect and support each other, and, yes, even turning to less-than-ideal paths like underground economies to make ends meet. But let's be clear, survival tactics are not a culture. Black culture is rich, multifaceted, and historic, rooted in triumphs, innovations, and contributions that shaped the very fabric of modern civilization. From jazz and hip-hop to literature, science, and politics, Black culture is a force of excellence and creativity. Reducing it to ghetto culture undermines its vast achievements. The devolution of progress. When we look at the leaders of the civil rights movement, figures like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., we see educated, dignified individuals who fought for the right to be seen as equals. Their wives were not twerking on social media, they were pillars of strength and grace. Yet today, there is a pervasive expectation that Black people must embody hood or ghetto culture to be considered authentically Black. This expectation is unique to Black communities. No other racial group is shamed for striving for civility and success. This devolution is evident in how we glorify behaviors and lifestyles that were once forced upon us. During slavery, propaganda painted Black people as savages, and now some of us proudly adopt that label. Our ancestors were forced to eat scraps and live in squalor, yet today, some of us romanticize these conditions as cultural markers. This is not evolution, it is regression. The erosion of traditional values. Marriage, once considered a cornerstone of stability and honor, has been devalued in certain circles. The push for marriage is not about conformity but about recognizing its role in building strong families and communities. Our ancestors understood this, even when faced with the horrors of slavery and segregation. They valued family, education, and self-respect, striving to create a better future for their descendants. Today, the celebration of promiscuity and materialism undermines these values. The pursuit of purses and social media clout has replaced the pursuit of purpose and legacy. This shift is not progress but a regression to the very stereotypes that were used to oppress Black people. Why classy women are called pick-me's. In today's social climate, women who prioritize dignity, self-respect, and traditional values are often labeled as pick-me's. This term is used derogatorily to imply that these women are seeking male validation. However, this perspective overlooks the fact that many of these women are simply choosing to honor themselves and their ancestors. In a world that champions independence and self-expression, women who align with traditional roles are often seen as betraying the cause. The irony is that feminism is supposed to be about choice, yet, when a woman chooses to be classy, she's ridiculed. The pick-me label is less about the woman herself and more about society's discomfort with anything that challenges the current narrative. Historically, women who dressed provocatively often did so out of necessity, not choice. They were forced into roles that required them to sell their bodies for survival. Today, when a woman chooses to dress modestly or advocate for marriage and family, she is not seeking approval, she is reclaiming a sense of honor that was stripped from her ancestors. Classy women are not merely pick-me's, they are visionaries. They recognize the sacrifices made by their ancestors and choose to honor them by pursuing excellence. They understand that genuine empowerment comes from breaking free from both literal and metaphorical chains that once constrained us. The disdain for classy women stems from internalized narratives that glorify survival-based behaviors. A woman pushing marriage, modesty, and self-respect is seen as a pick-me because she challenges the norm set by ghetto culture. This norm glorifies hustling, hypersexualization, and short-term pleasures, all products of survival, not choice. But class is not a crime, it is a pathway to liberation. When women reject the survival-based behaviors of ghetto culture, they are reclaiming the opportunities that their ancestors fought for. These women advocate for marriage, family, and personal integrity, not because they seek validation from men, but because they believe in the power of those principles. The criticism comes from a place of misunderstanding, rooted in the notion that independence means rejecting tradition. Yet true empowerment lies in choice. A woman who dresses modestly or pursues marriage is not regressing, she is reclaiming her dignity. Today, when a Black woman chooses self-respect and honor, she is actively defying the lies that society told about her ancestors. The celebration of the bold and unapologetic. On the flip side, women who embrace a more ghetto or promiscuous persona are often celebrated for their boldness and authenticity. They are seen as breaking free from societal constraints, living life on their own terms. Everyday women used to value modesty, marriage, and chastity, embodying a sense of dignity that was admired across cultures. Today, however, society seems to have flipped the script. The image of a promiscuous gold digger, flaunting attire that leaves little to the imagination, is not only normalized but celebrated. This shift raises questions about the values we uphold and the narratives we perpetuate. The media plays a significant role in this phenomenon. Reality TV, social media influencers, and music often glorify a certain type of behavior, creating a standard that others feel pressured to emulate. The result? A society that values shock value over substance, and loudness over quiet confidence. From survival to celebration, the historical context. During slavery, Black women were dehumanized, objectified, and exploited for labor and sex. They were paraded in circuses, their bodies displayed as objects of ridicule and curiosity. This was not a choice but a cruel imposition by a system designed to strip them of dignity and agency. Propaganda painted Black people as hypersexual and morally inferior. These narratives were used to justify exploitation and dehumanization. Today, some of these stereotypes are embraced, albeit unconsciously, as a form of rebellion or self-expression. The irony is stark: what was once used to demean and control is now voluntarily adopted, often to the detriment of the community. This shift is not a sign of liberation but a troubling reflection of how deeply ingrained these narratives have become. The legacy of classy Black women. Throughout history, Black women have exemplified grace, resilience, and class, even in the face of unimaginable adversity. Figures like Harriet Tubman, who risked her life to lead others to freedom, and Ida B. Wells, who fought tirelessly for civil rights and justice, embody the strength and dignity of Black womanhood. These women were not defined by the stereotypes imposed upon them but by their unwavering commitment to their values and communities. Even in the realm of culture and entertainment, women like Lena Horne and Dorothy Dandridge broke barriers with their talent and elegance, challenging the narrow perceptions of Black womanhood. They were not twerking or conforming to the caricatures created by a racist society, they were redefining what it meant to be a Black woman with class and sophistication. They were not defined by the stereotypes imposed upon them but by their contributions to society and their unwavering strength. These women remind us of the rich legacy of class and dignity within Black culture, a legacy that deserves to be celebrated and upheld. Hood culture and the burden of authenticity. Hood culture, born out of poverty and systemic oppression, exists across all racial and ethnic groups. However, Black people are uniquely expected to embody this culture, regardless of their socioeconomic status or personal achievements. This expectation creates a paradox. No matter how successful a Black person becomes, they are often pressured to maintain an image of struggle to be considered authentic. Historically, Black people were forced into certain ways of living due to systemic oppression. Now, some within the community perpetuate these lifestyles, turning survival mechanisms into cultural norms. This cycle not only limits individual growth but also reinforces harmful stereotypes. This burden of authenticity is not self-imposed but a product of societal conditioning. It is a continuation of the narratives created during slavery to dehumanize Black people. By embracing these stereotypes, some individuals unknowingly perpetuate the very systems of oppression that their ancestors fought to overcome. As a Black person, achieving success often comes with an unspoken expectation to remain tethered to struggle. Authenticity is measured not by accomplishments but by adherence to a Hood identity. This expectation is unique to Black culture. While poverty influences all communities, Black people are disproportionately pressured to embody ghetto stereotypes. For instance, Dr. Greg, a psychiatrist from Married to Medicine, was criticized for snitching when he called the police for his protection after an altercation with his ex's new boyfriend. This double standard reinforces the notion that Black individuals should conform to ghetto culture, even when it harms their well-being. The idea that a Black man or woman must adhere to no snitching or other codes of ghetto culture to maintain their authenticity is deeply flawed. No snitching is a rule born in the streets but misplaced in professional settings. No other racial group imposes such a misguided standard. A professional man acting in his own best interest should be celebrated for exercising wisdom, not condemned for rejecting harmful stereotypes. How expectations trap us. The expectation that Black people must conform to ghetto culture creates a harmful trap. It perpetuates stereotypes, limits opportunities, and discourages growth. It also erases the diversity within Black identities. Not every Black person comes from a Hood background, nor should they be required to embody that experience to prove their authenticity. Consider how other minority groups are treated. Asian, Latino, and white communities have pockets of poverty and Hood culture, yet their overall identities are not tethered to these struggles. A Japanese businessman is not expected to live like a member of the Yakuza, nor is an Italian chef judged against mafia tropes. Why, then, is there a persistent belief that Black success must still be linked to ghetto narratives? Moving forward, redefining authenticity. To move forward, we need to redefine what authenticity truly means. Authenticity is not about conforming to stereotypes or societal expectations, rather, it involves embracing one's genuine self with dignity and purpose. It's about honoring our ancestors' legacy by rejecting the narratives imposed on them and crafting new stories that highlight our strength, resilience, and potential. Our ancestors fought relentlessly to break free from the chains of oppression, both physical and symbolic. They endured immense struggles to ensure their descendants could thrive. To turn away from the opportunities they secured for us in favor of survival-based behaviors is not only regressive but also disrespectful. It is akin to discarding their sacrifices and opting to remain confined within the limitations society imposed on them. Now is the time for Black communities to fully embrace evolution. While survival tactics were essential during challenging times, they should not dictate our present or future. We have access to more opportunities, freedoms, and resources to build lives filled with dignity and success. Clinging to ghetto culture means rejecting evolution, which ultimately harms not only individuals but entire communities. Particularly, Black women possess the power to lead this transformation. By celebrating their individuality, intelligence, and grace, they can challenge the stereotypes that have long defined them. This endeavor is not merely a personal choice, it is a collective responsibility to honor the sacrifices of those who came before us and to pave the way for future generations. Our ancestors did not fight for us to remain stagnant. They envisioned a future where their descendants could rise above oppression, build legacies, and redefine the world's view of Black identity. Let us pay tribute to their legacy by striving for excellence, breaking stereotypes, and highlighting the richness of true Black culture. The celebration of ghetto promiscuity is not indicative of progress but rather a reflection of how deeply societal conditioning has influenced our perceptions. By reclaiming our narratives and embracing the values that have sustained us through generations, we can forge a future that genuinely celebrates the beauty and diversity of Black womanhood. Alright, folks, that's a wrap on this discussion. If this video resonated with you or got you thinking, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Drop your thoughts in the comments, let's keep this conversation going, because these are topics that matter. Together, we can reclaim the narrative and celebrate the incredible legacy of strength, dignity, and class that defines us. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay strong, stay inspired, and stay unapologetically yourself. What do you think? Is ghetto culture also Black culture? Let me know in the comments section. Stay bougie. Follow and support me. All links in bio. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check description for more info. New episodes every day.